Hello, authors. Welcome to another rousing edition of Self-Publishing Insiders. You guys, I've been waiting for this episode for a long time because our guests today are none other than the Romance Writers of America. And we've got the president, Jackie Renee, and the president-elect, Jennifer Bogle, who are joining us here today. We're going to talk everything romance. We're going to talk about the history of the RWA, the upcoming conference that's happening next month, in which I will be going along with my colleague, Megan Spann, who runs promotions. We're both totally stoked. We cannot wait. But before we jump into it, let me just kind of set the foundation and a little bit of background, because some of our viewers and some of our listeners, they might not be totally familiar with the Romance Writers of America. So let me just give a brief summary about the organization. The RWA, the Romance Writers of America, is a nonprofit trade association whose mission is to advance the professional and common business interests of career-focused romance writers through networking and advocacy, and by increasing public awareness of the romance genre. Now, Jackie, your bio says you write from the heart and that music is your muse. You also mentioned that you're deeply committed to mentoring new writers, which is, of course, super awesome because everybody needs a mentor. I want to know, and for our viewers and our listeners out there, how did that passion for mentorship lead you into RWA leadership? And what was your first sort of meaningful experience with the organization?
Ooh, are we being timed for this? Because I can talk about this for like an hour, but no.
Oh, don't worry, I'll just cut you off. I'll be like, hey.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, just give me the signal. Start playing the music. Okay, so I've always believed in that philosophy, each one teach one. So, and it doesn't matter like where you are in your career, you can always teach someone something, but also learn from that person too.
Mhm.
Right. So to me, mentoring is an even exchange. So as far as leadership is concerned, I view it as just another way of mentoring. Um, I like being a part of creating opportunities for other authors, but I also like making those connections.
Yeah.
And that is, what I bring to um, my role as a leader, those connections
Yeah.
and making opening doors for people, and then also encouraging others to dip their toe into becoming mentors themselves, because I feel like everyone has something to bring to the that we can all learn from. And then my first meaningful experience with, I would have to say it was my very first RWA conference in 2016 in San Diego, California.
Oh, okay. I was
And
there.
oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
nice.
remember you, but no, that's okay. But I was
I was
at
the guy dancing around on the tables. And
oh, were you?
That was
Okay,
you. We do remember
yeah.
I know you
you.
remember.
Okay.
I remember you. Yeah.
But I was at the literacy book signing where it's like hundreds of authors in a room signing books. And I happened to, saunter over to Beverly Jenkins' table.
Yeah.
And my mom was with me because wherever I go, I take my mom with
That's
me.
awesome.
She's always been an avid romance reader, and she was very familiar with Miss Beverly's work. So they were talking, and of course, my mom being my mom was talking up my manuscript because my mom at that time was my beta reader, right? And so no, not the next day, but maybe a day or two later, I went to an author book signing and Miss Beverly was standing behind her table. All the others were signing books, but she was just standing behind the table because she didn't have any books to sign. So I went up to her and she asked me about my manuscript that I had written, and I told her that it was completed. I had it. I worked with the developmental editor, but I wasn't ready to publish it, put it out there in the world yet, because
Mhm.
it's my first baby, right? So
Yep.
why would I put it out there? And Miss Beverly took me by the face. She reached over and she took me by the face and she said, "Baby, you're ready." And to me, her words just changed everything.
Mhm.
Like, here, this best-selling author who
Yeah.
took maybe just a few minutes out of her time to, and I look at that as her mentoring me.
Sure.
And I just, yeah, so that right there, where else would I have had that experience than at a RWA conference, right? So, yeah, that's my story.
Very, very well said. I fanboyed over Beverly Jenkins at I can't remember if it was that conference or another conference, but she had spoken, and I think I saw her in a book line, like to get her books mailed back home or something like that on the next, I think it was the last morning of the conference, and I was kind of like,
Mhm.
oh, I just wanted to tell her that her speech was like one of the best
Oh,
speeches I
yes.
had ever heard, not just at the conference, but like lifetime, because
Mhm.
and she's just such a humble person.
Oh,
So,
Yes. Yes.
agreed. And
okay.
she's very, very giving, very
Yes.
giving,
Yes.
right? So, which is a nice thing about the romance community, not just RWA, but the romance
Mhm.
community, is we all believe in love. We all believe in happy ever after. We're all like, you know, joy overcoming, chaos or whatever. So I think you find that as a personality trait. If you're going to write romance, you tend to be a nice person, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Right, right.
Right? I
Yes.
I have found. I have found.
And speaking of you, Jennifer, so
Sure, sure.
and that's one of the things that had struck me too when I first, I joined Smashwords back in 2011, and then my first
Sure.
RWA conference was I think 2012 or 2013. And
Ooh.
what really struck me was just how open some of the veterans were, who had been New York Times bestsellers for years, multiple New York Times
Sure.
bestsellers, just sitting on the floor against the wall with a circle of newbies surrounding them, just answering their questions like, no big deal,
Mhm.
I'm here for you.
Sure.
But Jennifer, I wanted to learn a
Yes.
little bit more about your background,
Oh,
because
thank you.
from, from what I understand about you, you started writing at age 8.
Very
You earned a
young.
Master
Yeah.
of Arts in Creative Writing. You've published with
Not at 8.
Harlequin.
Not at 8. I was a little older than 8 at that point. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you published with Harlequin, and so I just wanted to see in the arc of your journey where RWA fit in,
Sure.
and how, what the organization meant to you over the years.
Sure. Thank you for asking.
Of
So,
course.
thank you. I joined RWA actually 21 years ago. I joined when my youngest daughter was a year old. But prior to my youngest daughter being born, I had as a kid wanted to write. I'd always wanted to be a writer.
Mhm.
I had a degree in education. I taught for a little bit. I was a social worker for a little bit, but for the most part, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 2 older daughters, and I thought I wanted to be a children's book writer. I had three young girls. I read to them a lot. So most of my reading time was spent with, Madeline and, Peppa the Pig. Or actually, Peppa the Pig wasn't a thing back then, but I spent a lot of time reading to my kids. And so those were the books that I was looking for and finding. Now, if I happened to have time to read something on my own, it would have been a romance novel, probably a historical, but I also really have always liked romantic suspense. So when Sydney, I guess, was about a year old, I started going to we had a local Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators group that met once a month. I started going to those, and one of the ladies who happened to be a member of that group was also a member of our local Romance Writers of America,
Hmm.
which is Southern Tier Authors of Romance. I live in upstate New York. And she said, we're having a conference. You might like it. You get to know a little bit more about publishing and meet some other authors. And I was so green and so new and so just excited to learn anything that I could. I was like, sure, I'll go. And it was in Ithaca, New York. And I don't live in Ithaca, but I drove in and out for the day. And Sherilyn Kenyon was actually the keynote speaker. And I didn't realize what a big deal it was, but she was amazingly motivating. And she did such a good job. She talked to me. I happened to sit next to her at lunch, and she was happy to chat with me, happy to be encouraging. And aside from the fact that I got to go to this conference, I liked being in the room with these people. I'm like, oh, I think I've met my crew.
Yeah.
And a little more time went on, a few more years, and I decided my thought was, if I wanted to be a doctor, I would go to medical school. I want to be a writer, I should get a higher degree in creative writing. So I went to Wilkes University and got my degree in creative writing, worked on a manuscript, actually got an agent through the program. The manuscript that she signed me for never sold, but I came up with this idea, excuse me, for a gladiator romance. I went to an RWA conference, pitched to anybody, right? Anybody that would stand still long enough to listen to me, I pitched to them. And one of the people I actually had an appointment to pitch to her, I didn't chase her down, was Susan Littman from Harlequin. And Harlequin had a little bit of interest in the book. It didn't end up going to them. It ended up going to Montlake. And they did 2 books. And about the time I was finishing up my second book, I came up with an idea for romantic suspense set during the Christmas season. I pitched it to my editor at Montlake, and she said, oh, this is actually like a really cute idea. I like it, but our marketing is over a long period of time. This will sell well for about 6 weeks. And honestly, it kind of sounds like a Harlequin to me. So we wouldn't be interested, but it's still a good idea. Lucky for me, like a month later was the same RWA conference. Susan Littman was still there taking pitches, or she hadn't been there the whole 2 years. She was back and she was taking pitches. I was able to get a spot with her. I sat down with her, honest to goodness. I said, hi, remember me? And she said, oh, you're the gladiator lady.
Oh,
and I
wow.
said, I am. And I have something completely different for you. It's a romantic suspense. Lucky for me, she had an opening, there were maybe 2 pitch sessions after weren't filled. And she gave me a half an hour of her time. When I stood up, I had a very good idea of my initial idea, how I could work with it to make it into a Harlequin. I knew exactly what she wanted me to submit to her. Maybe 3 or 4 months later, I had my agent sent her the proposal package. They bought 3 books from me at the time. That was my first Harlequin. I'm now 22 Harlequins in, all romantic suspense. And I am 30 books in with my career. But had it not been for those RWA conferences, which are so important because they put people in the same room, I wouldn't be where I am. And then I did get my master's degree in creative writing, but it was a literary program. So I learned a tremendous amount, but there wasn't that education in writing romantic fiction. However, because of the programming with the RWA, some of the speakers we got at the chapters, stuff that I was able to learn at conferences, I think back then there weren't a lot of online, there wasn't a lot of online programming, but I still had access to all of these people, all of this programming, all of this education. So that filled in those gaps where I understood how to write a romance. And so when I went to pitch, I was prepared.
Gotcha.
I was ready. I knew, and I learned how to pitch, which is a skill set all on its own.
Oh, yes.
It is. The
is.
more you do it, the more fluid you get. And
Yeah,
relax.
yes. for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit, because I want to address what happened with RWA a couple of years ago here, just to kind of get that elephant in the room out of the way.
Sure.
So RWA went through a very public and kind of a painful stretch here. Membership fell by around 80%. The organization filed for bankruptcy. And I want to give you two credit, because most people would run from a situation like that. But I'm interested in what made the two of you kind of run toward it. Tell me what you believe was worth saving. And I kind of think that you just did, Jennifer, and you too,
Sure.
Jackie.
Sure. Do you want to go first, Jackie, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first. Yeah.
Okay. Why, thank you. So, like I mentioned, I joined RWA to be a member of my local chapter. And I happened to be pretty involved in leadership, probably at the point in like that you were mentioning. Maybe I had been a member for like 15 years, and probably throughout that whole time, I had been some sort of officer for my local chapter most of those years.
Okay.
Age to Perfection, which is an online chapter that focuses on heroes and heroines that are 35 and older, had just come into being. I joined it at that time. That wasn't the lane I wrote in. At this time it is. So that's another positive for RWA for me, is that genre specific, subgenre specific chapters that you can be involved in and learn a lot. They had just come into being. Many members of the board, I think all except for one, had left RWA, and the remaining board members sent an email to everybody and said, "Hey, does anybody have any experience being a chapter leader?" And I messaged back, "Oh, sure, lots. Why?" "Well, we need a board. Would you be willing to serve on the board?" And I thought about it a little bit too long, because I'm like, oh, I can be like vice president. That's not a big deal. I know how to be a backup singer. I can do that, And so I messaged her back and I said, "Oh, I'll be vice president." And she said, "Well, somebody was smart enough to jump on that one quick." And we have treasurer and we have president. Nobody in their right mind wants me to be treasurer. I am not a money person. I wouldn't do that to the organization. I wouldn't do that to myself. So I'm like, well, I took a couple more days to think about it. She messages me again and she's like, "Okay, I have a treasurer. You're the only other person who seems vaguely interested in being president. If you can do it, please do it. If you can't, we're going to have to close." She was very good at selling it to me. She used just the right amount of like encouragement and guilt. And I'm like, "I'll do it." I ended up being president for 4 years. I did think, when, like, how is this going to work? People were very enthusiastic to remain with RWA. And I then had this personal responsibility to the chapter. First thing we did actually was contact Beverly Jenkins and said, "Would you be willing to speak to us?" Because by this point, we were in the midst of COVID. Everybody's home. We're all learning how to use Zoom. Yeah. And she said, "Sure, I'll do an Ask Me Anything." She came, she spoke to us for 90 minutes. She was so gracious. And then, so we're going to do this. We're all stuck at home. The woman who was treasurer for the organization said, "I'd like to do programming. Can we look into doing like maybe a monthly workshop?" So we did that. And it was because I was committed to the chapter that I stayed in RWA. And I started to get to know people who, became presidents and officers, because I was a president of a chapter that wasn't super established. I needed a lot of help, and RWA's board and everything, they were always there, always willing to answer questions, always willing to make sure that I had the information I needed and hold my hand and guide me through things. And then I did that for 4 years. I went back to being president of my local chapter. And at that point, I became a a committee chairperson, and I started, so this is the part about RWA that I have realized needs to be saved. As I became more involved with the organization at a national level, I realized that we were much more than just a group of affiliated chapters, right? That RWA has a seat at the table. In fact, Jackie and I, spend a lot of our time at meetings with other author organizations talking about things that are challenges within the publishing industry today. Yep. And if RWA doesn't exist, you might still have those chapters out there, but every single romance author loses that voice. We truly lose that seat. So that's what's important for me to save at this point. And more than save, move forward and continue to advocate for romance authors specifically, but the entire creative community.
Absolutely. That's
okay,
perfect
Jackie.
answer.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie, like you were also kind of embedded for years, and you were in a leadership position around this time too, as right? So I'm curious, like, how did those experiences kind of shape how you are leading today?
Actually, I wasn't involved at the national level. Like in 2019, 2020, I was more involved at the chapter level.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. During that time, but I was appointed to the board of directors in the third quarter of 2021, and then I was elected in 2021, and I've been here ever since. And I think that I believe then, and still believe now, that it is the essence of RWA that is worth saving, right? It is there to be the voice for romance writers. Like Jen said, we sit in meetings with other creative organizations, and what we bring to the table is that voice for romance writers, for romance authors, romance writers. And just RWA doesn't just help authors write better books. It also helps them build sustainable careers.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I believe is worth saving, that essence of RWA. And that is why I, as you said, ran towards it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah. Both courageous from both of you. Truly.
Sure. Can I say something about Jackie as a leader? Because you asked, like, and maybe she knew this already, but one thing she has instilled in me for this year is transparency, and following all procedures, right? It doesn't matter how boring that policy and procedure manual is, you got to know it. And we have to follow all the documents. We have to follow bylaws, policies, and procedures. We have to stick to those. We can't, make stuff up. And even though we're all writers and we make stuff up all the time, but as a leader, those are two things I have definitely taken away from my year of being Jackie's president-elect. Other things too, but those two things for sure.
But then also just, I got a chance to see up close, first of all, from the chapter boards to the national boards and the national committees, we're all volunteers. Yeah. So I got to see other committed members volunteer so much of their time to keep the organization going. And I like to volunteer. I mean, that is, I'm the first to raise my hand when Claire Brett was president of RWA and something needed to be done. before she could even finish the sentence, it was, Jackie, do not raise your hand. Because I mean, I love to volunteer, but it was seeing those people firsthand put all of their time and energy into sustaining and rebuilding the organization that, helped motivate me as well to continue to be a part of the organization and the leadership of the
And it's no
organization.
small time commitment either, from what I understand. Like, you
No, it's
guys,
not.
Yeah.
you're writing your books, but you're also dedicating hours
Yeah,
to your jobs.
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We're all like, and now
Well,
Yes. No,
I won't put you on the spot too much. But
okay.
no, sometimes I treat it like it's a regular 9 to 5 job.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're both
I'm
working
not
really hard to
president yet,
restore
so
that trust.
Yeah.
You're both
So I'm
working really hard to
I'm a
restore that
part-time
trust, and
employee.
it seems like it's paying off.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And how do you measure that? Is it like new membership? Is it chapter growth? Is it the conference? Is it all of the above?
I would say
Um,
all of the above and then some. And
Yeah.
the then
Yeah.
some would be, member participation and in
mhm.
our, our programming. Yeah. So I'm sorry, Jackie, you were going to say something.
Well, no, sometimes, well, I look at it too. Okay. And I talk about this. I'm also like a business coach. So I talk about this a lot when I'm doing presentations about doing it like an author business plan and things
Mhm.
like that. But a return on investment isn't always monetized, right? It can also be what the connections you make, um, you moving forward in your career. So sometimes it can't be measured by money, but it can be measured in growth, if that makes sense. And so I
Does.
think that for RWA, it is right now we're being measured by growth, not in membership, but in the value that we
Okay.
bring to romance authors, right? So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's shift gears once again, because I ended
Okay.
up talking too much and asking too many questions on one topic.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
No, it's all me. Trust me. But I want to make sure that we get this part out, and that is, romance authors and the indie author revolution. Because
Yes.
if I didn't say it earlier, maybe I did. But for those of you who don't know, if it wasn't for the romance community, the indie author community wouldn't be where it is today, because it was the romance authors who, in the very early days, circa 2007, 2008, romance authors who were traditionally published, who had their rights reverted back to them, said, you know what, I'm going to check out this self-publishing thing. And then bang, it took off, because those authors were professionally savvy already. They were extremely talented. And once their books started selling, authors who were coming up saw the viability of self-publishing. So I just wanted to take a step back and talk about that a little bit, about romance authors being at the vanguard of the indie publishing revolution. And I also wanted to ask you, how does RWA view that legacy? And do you think romance writers get enough credit for the role that they played in shaping the publishing landscape? You're shaking your head.
We'll let Jackie take that one.
Because I am a self-published author. I use draft to digital. So yes. I don't think, well, first of all, romance writers have always been innovators. And I think that they deserve more recognition for the role that they play or in proving that being independently published is a viable publishing path. And today's RWA doesn't see like traditional publishing versus indie publishing
Right.
as competing publishing paths. What RWA is doing now is helping people see that they are equally viable publishing paths. They just require different strategies. That's all. Right. And to
Perfect.
understand that, that's where the education comes in, those opportunities to speak to other authors, interact with other authors, not just virtually, but in person, right? Holding those conversations in person. So that's where RWA's legacy, I believe, is moving towards now, not
Yeah.
normalizing independent publishing.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's shift gears once again and talk about the annual conference coming up. I want to make sure we talk about the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've been several times. I haven't been in a couple of years, but I've been several times. It's a fantastic conference.
Thank you.
My colleague Megan Spann and I are super thrilled about joining. It's next month.
Yes.
Megan runs our promotion. She's our promotions coordinator. So she's the person who is in daily contact with the merchandising managers at our retail and library partners, getting promotions for our authors out into the world. So let's talk about that. And our other colleague, Mark Leslie Lefebvre, attended last year and just raved about it, about the conference. So tell us, like, what's in store for attendees this year? Is there anything new and different? Like, tell us about this conference that you've got coming up.
Well, first
It's
and
going to be one of the
foremost,
biggest that we've had in a while, right?
yes, it is. Each year it grows, but first and foremost, I want everyone to know that our members voted. They were given 3 options of the location for the conference, and that's just another way we are giving, RWA is giving its members a voice. So the members voted, and Albuquerque, New Mexico won by a landslide. So I'm excited about that.
Me too.
The conference workshop committee they went through hundreds of workshop proposals, and they have selected some really, really good topics for this conference. And those topics will educate every author, no matter where they are in their career. Another thing that I am excited about is we are bringing back some of the events and activities that happened in past happened at past RWA conferences. We're bringing some of those back now, like the awards reception, but we combined them. So we're combining the Diamond Heart and Golden Heart Awards finalists. We will showcase them at a reception. Our librarians and booksellers who promote the romance genre will highlight them at a reception. And these receptions are open to all conference attendees.
Oh, perfect.
What else?
I'm excited for the award ceremony itself.
Yes. Our award ceremony committee, even though we're smaller in size in terms of the conference.
Well, you're rebuilding. That's understandable.
Yeah, we're rebuilding, but they are putting on or planning a almost Hollywood type awards ceremony.
Does this mean I have to bring a suit? Am I going to have to wear a suit when I come?
Yes.
Bring a tie.
Yes, bring a tie.
Right.
Bring a tie. Yeah. So yeah, I really think that each year we add something new, but it's the workshops and the opportunities to connect with industry professionals. And when I say industry professionals, I'm not just talking about agents and editors. I'm talking about people like you, Jim, your company. You guys will be there. Other companies will be there. So there's something at this conference, like all other conferences, that is for everyone.
Okay. For somebody who may have stepped away from RWA, during those difficult years, is the conference
Sure.
a good place for them to kind of dip their toes
Oh,
back
yes.
in?
Yeah.
Oh,
Join
yes.
us, please.
yes.
We have fun. We have so
Yes,
much fun.
I think Jane Porter said it best, like at the Austin conference. She, she said she's been to like many RWA conferences, but it was something about that Austin conference that just really touched her soul almost, because she said she really felt connected to other romance authors at that Austin conference. And that is, again, it goes back to that essence of RWA, what it represents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring up a quick question from the audience here.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, this is from Beth Bliss. Thanks, Beth. Beth asked, and then she has a follow-up after this. She
Okay.
asked, one of our stories have a romance subplot. Can we find resources within RWA for books outside the romance genre?
We actually have a chapter, and it's called, what is it? The women's fiction
It's
chapter. Yeah, it's
women's
the
fiction writer, something like that.
yes.
Yeah.
And so yes, there are resources within RWA that helps authors who have romance subplots, but their main plot, or their central plot isn't about a love story. Yes, there are resources through not just the chapters, but past conferences. We have articles in our digital magazine that can be utilized. That information, the craft tips can be utilized for any type of subplot or plot.
Yeah,
Sure.
we used to recommend to our authors that, hey, even if you're outside of romance, you can learn a lot from the romance community. I'm sorry, Jennifer.
Well, I was going to say, I'm not sure what Beth's main genre is, but like if it happens to be suspense or fantasy or something like that, there's Kiss of Death, which is a romantic suspense chapter, and a lot of their topics and workshops are very suspense heavy, like police procedurals, investigative things. The fantasy futuristic paranormal chapter, they do a lot of stuff on like world building. So depending on what her other main genre is, there might even be a chapter for that too.
Okay,
for sure.
Perfect. And then I just wanted to bring up Beth's follow-up question, which I think everybody needs to hear. She asked, can writers who live outside the USA join RWA?
You can.
Yes, I recently.
Go ahead.
Well, I recently pulled like a full membership roster and sorted it by countries, and we have members from all over the world. Believe it or not, all over the world. South Africa, Japan, of course, Canada. We have a Canadian chapter. Just all over the world. So yes,
and last year our conference was in Niagara Falls, Canada.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Love it. Love it. Okay, I'm going to try to get to some more questions here. My own questions.
Sure.
Thank
you, Beth, by the way.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, thank you for asking your questions.
Yeah, thanks, Beth. So for authors who don't know, romance is perhaps, more popular and commercially powerful than ever. I mean, even years ago, the romance alone was like $1 billion genre within the publishing industry. But now with platforms like Book Talk and Bookstagram that are introducing the genre to these just massive new audiences out there, how does RWA stay relevant and essential in this new landscape when things are changing, book launches are changing, and maybe the traditional way of doing it isn't the traditional way of doing it is just kind of changing too. It's just not the status quo anymore.
Sure. Well, I mean, you have to learn how to do the new things somewhere, and that
You
would
do.
be through RWA, right? Like there, we have things on classes and so forth on TikTok and using Bookstagram. A chapter mate of mine is very savvy with all things meta, and she was gracious enough to meet with me last week and help me with my Instagram account. So and that's just like it's just like I met her through RWA, so that's a good thing. And again, those personal connections you get to make. And if you didn't write a good book, it doesn't, and you didn't learn how to write a good book, and you didn't acquire those skills that you can acquire through participating in RWA events, then you you can have the best book launch on Book Talk that you want. And oh, what did I say, Jackie?
No, you're fine. You are fine.
Jackie's giggling. I wasn't sure.
No, you're fine.
I did kick the dogs out of my office. Usually if she's giggling, it's because like the dog's like over my shoulder, like, what are we talking about today?
That makes sense. And you've always had a good roster of faculty coming in, from best-selling authors to show how they got to where they are today, to service providers showing their tools and how to do things properly to get to that next level.
And it's all about and one thing that hasn't changed is it's all about the craft, right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you are hybrid, indie, traditional, you need to write a good story. You need to have those basics of, good craft down. And, we're here to help with that. And
I think that, I'm sorry. But no, but social media is a great place to start the conversation, but it's not a professional organization. Whereas RWA brings like that institutional type knowledge under one umbrella. And it's not just traditionally published authors that are coming in to talk. It is indie authors who have found success that are being brought in to also do those types of presentations. So RWA tries to focus on helping authors just really build sustainable careers by bringing in other authors who have built and are still building those careers, right? So
Gotcha. And part of that is with your advocacy, because you guys have have built a reputation on fighting for authors' rights when it comes to copyright and contracts and different platform policies. Are there any sort of pressing battles right now that the organization is taking on?
Oh yes, AI and intellectual property rights. Yeah,
Shocker.
And protecting your intellectual property rights and copyrights and things like that. We in December last year, we started. We started a digital series, and we had someone from the Authors Guild come in and talk about copyright, like what is AI doing in terms of like your intellectual property. Then we had one of our members who is also a professor, a college professor, Dr. Jason Ridge. He did a workshop in that series the next month on just explaining what AI is, right? Because we all have like these ideas, but he broke it down into simple terms that people can understand. And people are under the assumption that AI is something that's just now happening. No, he told us that AI was created years, decades ago. It is just each year, each decade, it has evolved. And this just happens to be this decade where it's getting the most attention.
Just grows exponentially. Yeah.
Exactly. And then we had someone come in and do, and this is a part of her everyday life. This is not her actual 9 to 5 job, although she is a romance author. She taught us about protecting yourself in this digital age in terms of looking at the passwords that you create, how to spot, spam emails and things like that. And then we wrapped it up with a workshop or presentation by an IP attorney who happens to be a best-selling romance author, Maggie Marr. And she talked about copyrights. So these are the types of things that we are bringing to the table for members, but it's not just members because that series was open to everyone.
I love that. Okay, I
Anybody
didn't know
could,
that.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up the conference again because it's not like it's not sold out, is it? Or are you
Almost.
capping
We're
the registration?
almost. Yeah, we are because our venue is smaller than it used to be,
Okay.
but we are almost there. We did sell out of our room block, but we now have an overflow hotel. So yes, we're almost there, and we are super excited about almost capping out. Yes.
So if you're
congratulations.
interested,
I want to just put your link up here. I could put the conference link
you.
up too, but I want people to go to the RWA's website because they can easily find
Thank
the
you.
conference from there and just about all the different resources that you have for
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but can I keep you guys for a couple more minutes because there's there are more questions from the
sure.
audience that I want to get to. So I'll take this away. Go back to some questions here. Where was it? Oh, I think it's this one here. From Maxine Douglas. Maxine asks, for those who are looking to rejoin, what does the future look like for the RWA? Maybe 3 years out.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Maxine. I think that, well, I know that the future of RWA looks like a more stable organization that continues to advocate and educate romance authors because romance author members of RWA, and not many people know this or realize this, but members of RWA are really considered independent contractors, right? They own and operate their own business within romance writing. And it is RWA's job to ensure that you have the access to education and resources, and I'm not talking about financial resources, but resources that help you build and sustain your romance writing career. So I think that the future of RWA is and will continue to be that platform or that entity that is central to your career in learning what's out there, how to protect yourself, how to move forward, and to keep moving forward.
Sure. And I'm going to piggyback on something with or bring up what I know I'm going to bring forward. And it's something Jackie started and maybe Claire before her also. But what are we doing to add value to the lives and the careers of our members? That's a central focus. How is this helping you? We are here for the romance writers. We are here for when we're working within RWA, we are coming up with things that are going to help you become the best writer, have the best career that you can have. But and then I like that Jackie pointed out that we are much more stable at this point. And again, that's because transparency and following the rules are also paramount. So, and I know that this year that, transparency, following all the rules, and then that added value has been something at every level of leadership, from the executive committee to the board to the committee chairs, all the way down to the committee level.
Got it. So as we get to the end of this conversation, most people know that romance is kind of built on the idea of happy endings. So if RWA, if the Romance Writers of America, if the organization itself were a romance novel, where would we be in the story arc?
Do you want me to take that one, Jackie? Or
yes, because
Okay.
I, the type of writer that I am, I know my ending before I know my beginning, and then I just write towards my ending. So,
so I'm going to say, Jim, RWA has been around for 40 years. We're in a new book, right? We know when the last book ended, and the ending wasn't especially satisfactory, but this is a whole new book, and we are just at the beginning of our hero's journey. And yeah, so I invite anybody who's interested to check out RWA, and if you're interested, thank you, at rwa.org, and if you're interested in coming to the conference, apparently sign up now.
Yeah, congratulations that it's growing and that you're on the verge of selling it out.
We're super excited. Yeah.
I'm super excited too. I want to thank you both for your time. This has been eye-opening. It really has. We, on behalf of Drafted Digital, we're rooting for you guys.
Thank you.
We've seen the value of RWA in years past. We know that you're doing all the right things to make it even better than it was before.
Correct.
So,
thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. And if I can just say, I can't wait for next month. It's going to be so fun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Yeah, me too. Likewise. Just to go through some YouTube obligations here real quick. If you're here and you enjoyed this conversation, first of all, thank you all for joining us live. I've seen some of the names that we recognize who visit us week in and week out. So thank you guys for joining once again. I also noticed some new names in the comments. So welcome and thank you for joining today. If you like this episode and you enjoyed what you heard, if you can do us a favor and share it with your author friends, we really, really appreciate that. You can also, if you have the time, bookmark D2D Live if you want to see what subsequent topics are going to be and who the guests are. And finally, for anybody who is listening or watching today, if you're just sort of dipping your toes into the indie publishing waters and you want to learn more, sign up for an account simply by going to draft2digital.com. Once again, Jackie, Jennifer, thank you both very much for carving out some time, because I know you don't have a lot of time in your days. So
thank you.
It's been my pleasure. So if you can spare a couple more minutes, go backstage, grab a snack and a drink, and I'll meet you back there in just a minute.
All right. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And we're going to play a quick commercial here. Everybody else, we hope to see you here again, same time, same place next week. Bye, everybody.
Ebooks are great, but there's nothing quite like holding your own print book in your hand. It's a beautiful celebration of your writing accomplishment. That's why we've created D2D Print, a convenient and easy print-on-demand service built to make it easy for you. We've got more than 20 beautiful templates to give your book a pro look, and we can even convert your book cover into a machine-perfect full wraparound cover for print. Yet another convenient option for you and your books. And you can get started right now at draftdigital.com.